Hello, Pastor Nolan Soldahl back with another Thursday thought for you, friends. So, I've been talking a lot with people around the Medford Neighborhood Church, the community I serve, and one of the things I've really started to notice and kind of been putting on my heart, or has been put on my heart rather, has been this idea of labels. We often in our culture ask, who am I? Or how do I understand who I am to begin with? How do I even know who I am? And so often our society and our culture likes to say, okay, well, first thing, maybe you should go to a psychologist or talk to your friends about that, right? And your friends, as loving as they might be, your psychologist as helping or psychiatrist as helping as they might be, they're going to naturally say, oh, this is what's going on right now. I see that in you. And so I'm going to attach my definition or a definition to that and give it a name. More frequently, we are going to call that a label. And that being a label could then start becoming your identity. You start focusing on that label. So for example, in the past, I've struggled with depression issues. So it wouldn't be too much of a stretch for me to say, oh, slap that label on me, I've got depression. And hide behind that, or make that me. You know, I've got depression and it's so hard to live. But that's not going to be good for me. That's not going to be good for the other people I'm hanging out with or who I'm interacting with. Because all they're going to see is that label and me saying that label is me. Right? They're not actually going to get to see me as a human being, as a person that may have had that tendency or has that tendency, but that doesn't make that tendency who I am. You see what I'm saying here? So when talking about who our identity is supposed to be in, if you're a follower of Jesus, you're going to say it's the fact that I'm a child of God and a co-heir with Christ. I'm given a new identity. I'm made somebody new, completely new, right? And yet, without some sort of identity to fall back on, oftentimes in our culture, I see more people often not fall into this idea of having a label as their identity, whatever have you. I'm part of the LGBTQ plus community, right? That they're going to slap that label on them and say, that is me. I have ADHD, therefore I am ADHD. I have bipolar, therefore I am bipolar. And the language we use around these labels starts becoming who we are, to the point where next thing you know, somebody's going to say, all I see in front of me is that label. Or those labels. That's all I'm going to see in front of me when I interact with you, just because you've told me that's your identity. I'm not going to see a human being anymore at that point. I'm going to see the label. And that's the problem. That's where we get into the big issue of the fact that human beings are no longer seeing human beings. They're seeing exactly what they want to see, the label. Because having a label is so much easier than saying, oh, you're a complex individual who I need to take time to learn and get to understand and appreciate. That's a whole lot harder to do than say, oh, thanks for giving me your label, I'll tell you mine back, and now I know who you are according to my own understanding of said label. Instead of saying, oh, you've given me your label? What do you mean by that? When you say, I'm gay, how are you defining that? What do you mean by that? Or whatever have you, right? I'm an alcoholic. Oh, when you say you're an alcoholic, what does that mean to you? Because I've met alcoholics, and sometimes everybody has a different struggle with alcoholism different, and they define alcoholic differently. So how can I trust that label that you're giving me and use it according to my own preconceptions? That's not fair of me if I'm truly trying to understand you. And so that's my point of my talk today. I'm kind of annoyed by the fact that we keep saying I am this label instead of saying, hey, I'm a human And I've got struggles and I've got issues, and I live lifestyles that need to be explored, need to be understood. And I'm somebody who's just like you in the fact that as a human, we need to be understood. We need to be cared about and loved on. Where does our label begin and us begin? That's a Thursday thought for you. Just really thinking about it and really grasping at trying to understand that topic. Am I my label? And if I am, then who really is me? So, happy Thursday. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Be sure, if you want more content like this, to like, comment, subscribe, all that.